I think that'd be kind of one of their last-ditch efforts would be to go back to the idea of a gold-backed currency. First of all, keep in mind that anytime you hear any government or any group of people, whether it's a banker, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Any group of people, any clan of people, CLAN, not KLAN, any group of people who talk about a gold-backed currency, as soon as they put the word backed in front of gold, that's a qualifying word, meaning that you then have to trust that they have the actual gold to back it at a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's say that they say, like for example, the U.S. The U.S. was $20. 1 troy ounce of gold, which is a fixed unit of monetary measurement, was worth $20 US. So 1/20th of a troy ounce of gold equaled $1. So that assumes that they're actually going to have a 1-to-1 ratio of gold. In other words, they would have 1/20th of 1 ounce of gold for every single dollar that they print. And historically, that has never happened. That has never happened historically. They always end up lending more money out. This is where the idea of a bank run came from. In fact, there's a movie called It's a Wonderful Life. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I don't mean you specifically, but I mean just anybody watching this. Go watch It's a Wonderful Life. It is not a Christmas movie. I know it's disguised as a Christmas movie because they played at Christmas time, and Christmas is sort of used as a plot device to amplify what's going on. But that movie is actually more of an economic lesson, far more economic lesson than it is a Christmas time movie. And it uses the idea, like you have to understand, like what is a bank run? A bank run is just when a banker, it's not when people didn't do anything wrong. A bank run happens when a banker lends out more money than he actually has to back it. That's what causes a bank run. Then people show up and they say, hey, I want my money. And the banker goes, we don't have it. And then it becomes, oh my God, what did you do with my money? Yeah, that's what causes a bank run. And bank runs they happened all the time. And the reason they happen all the time is because banks are notorious for doing this because they can't actually function because loans go bad, right? Most people who work in banking aren't exactly the best businessmen. They're just not. In fact, the higher up in banking you are, the worse you are at probably running a business, because there's a disconnect between actually, having to run a business yourself versus just print money, and it's not the same thing. So, to your question, do I think that they'll try and do the gold-backed thing? I think that like BRICS is trying this, as you mentioned, BRICS. They're going to attempt this, but once again, it doesn't have a lot of support. It's got fairly soft, limp, flaccid support from people all over the world because they don't believe they're the same way. They don't believe that they're going to actually keep a 1-to-1 ratio of gold. So let's say that they say, oh hey, a BRICS dollar, for lack of a better term, is the equivalent, of 1/100th of a troy ounce of gold. Let's say that that's what they were doing. So in other words, it would be 100 BRICS dollars to 1 troy ounce of gold. Nobody believes that they will leave that ratio there. They know that ratio will get cut. And especially if you have actually truly independent auditors who show up and start doing core samples on gold bars, they're going to find out that it's mostly tungsten in a lot of cases. So that's the challenge with this, is that nobody believes that they will leave it at whatever ratio they set. Zimbabwe tried this. They, if I'm not mistaken, just recently they tried this idea, and they had to readjust. And just like the U.S. did, the U.S. had to go from $20 a troy ounce to $35 a troy ounce, and then they had to make it illegal for people to own gold. Now, I mean, only the stupid people gave up their gold. But the most obedient, dumbass Americans gave up their gold. Everybody else who was not a dumbass and not stupid and completely disobedient and free thinking would have told FDR to go fuck himself, and rightly so. And all of his agents and all of his assigns and all of the people who worked in the government. There's a reason why you have a Second Amendment. They only find the shallow ones. God damn, I don't know how many times I have to say that shit. Anyway, or keep a pig farm. Anyway, so as far as a CBDC, the dollar is a CBDC in all but name. It is effectively the same thing. Yes, it's paper, it's tokenized in paper, and you can move it around, but it is a CBDC in that as soon as it makes it to a bank, it is not safe. Because when you put it in a bank, in any one of these banks, these institutions, those institutions are a hybrid organization between government and banking. And if the government says jump, the banks say how high, right? So if they say, oh, we want to have you go ahead and lock down that person's account, they control it. They own that no matter what. Now, as long as you keep it in paper, it's quasi-safe in that, like, yeah, you can spend it into the economy until you get pulled over by some fucking piece of shit pig. And as soon as a fucking piece of shit pig that they've hired, one of these pig fuck motherfuckers, right? I mean, you know what they look like, right? They wear the costumes and all that bullshit. Yeah, as soon as one of those pieces of shit, they're not human. They are not human. They're fucking pigs. Okay, understand that. When those pieces of shit pull you over, and then they say, oh, well, you know, we're going to search your car, and they see a bunch of your money, right? They do, oh, well, we're just going to steal this because it has, you know, residue on it. Yeah, so your money's only as safe as that. So you end up having to go full pirate, which means that you get your gold and then you go find some place and you physically bury it and draw a treasure map. Or you take a tattoo gun and you tattoo the map onto your newborn son's head. So that way his hair grows in and it covers the map. And so there you go. For those of you who remember that movie. Anyway, that's, you know, the only way out of this. Or you can use orange internet money and take it off the internet, and then it is out of the reach of the pigs, it's out of the reach of the banks, it's out of the reach of the government, it's out of the reach of pretty much everybody. So it's kind of everybody else, you know, it's all of your call, dude. You guys would do whatever you want to do. In hard currency, for my gold bugs who love the idea of the yellow metal, that's great, man. I totally support you on that. But just keep in mind, you're going to have to use lead to protect your gold. You have to use lead against your pigs to protect your gold, because that's like, dude, these people are fucking thieves, dude. That's all they are. That's all these fucking people are, man. They're the same thieves and beggars that have always been around, who've plagued humanity for fucking thousands of years. It's the same fucking people. They're NPCs. They're not real, and that's it. Like, they don't think for themselves. They're not individualistic, which is why they wear uniforms. It's right there in front of you. I mean, like, think of life like a video game. Dude, if they're in a uniform, they're NPCs by definition, right? Only deserters become human, become real boys. Become a deserter, and then you become a real boy. Pinocchio style. I hope that answers your question.